So I'm just thinking from an early age, were you groomed for the family business? And talk a little bit about that. Like, I remember when I interviewed Danny Wirtz, he's like the fourth generation owner of the
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And he said when he was growing up as a kid at the dinner table, there was no other discussion except for business. He was groomed.
Yeah. Mine was a little more complicated than that, I would say. My dad was very successful, although he was a true entrepreneur. He started his company from scratch. So he wasn't always very successful. In fact, he started out with really nothing at all. And his father was a tailor and shop owner, and very, very well, he was an immigrant. So, but by the time I would say I got to my, I don't know, junior high age is when my dad's business starting to get successful. And, I had a general sense of what he was doing. He was certainly a workaholic, and he worked a lot. But it was kind of a complicated, real estate. What does that even mean? And, it didn't really make much sense to me. I was not that interested in business at all. I will say, however, though, that my dad did make clear to me, especially as I got closer to college, and that he would love to have me involved in the business, but that love was not shared by me. That was something that like I said, I was respectful, appreciative, but I had very little interest and very little focus about what he wanted to do. It didn't really. So I went on my thing, and I even though I went to college, obviously, and law school and all that, but I never studied business at all or finance. Even in law school, when everyone takes these corporate tax and finance, I didn't do any of that. I didn't take any financial classes in college. It's just never been of interest to me. So, that changed when I went. So when I was in my late 20s, I think my dad was getting older, and he started putting plans in place about succession and his estate, stuff like that. So he sort of needed to, I wouldn't say he was pressuring me, but it was kind of a time where it was like, if you're going to be interested, that now would be a good time to know, because it would impact some decisions I'm going to make. And if you're really not, fine, go off, do your thing. So that was when I started giving it some serious thought. I had just had my first child. So I thought long and hard about it, because again, it had very little attraction to me. But what ultimately swayed me was the thought about, I saw, as I thought about through kind of the eyes of a successor, was really, this was a family business. And if I were to continue, it would be an opportunity for me to sort of provide for my siblings and their children and whatnot. So I kind of saw myself as a fiduciary, if you will, that, okay, I can do this, take this on, and if I like it, I'll stay. If I don't, I'll leave. I'm young enough, it's not going to have a big impact on me. And, if I do like it, this is a chance for me to sort of do something for not just myself. So that's kind of how I talked myself into it, was looking at it more from that perspective, because again, I really had no idea what the business was. So that's kind of when I decided, okay, I'll give this a shot. If it doesn't work out, no problem. 6 months, a year, I'll move on, and then that'll be the end of it. So I would not say I was groomed. It was a rather more of a reluctant, somewhat, it was accidental, but sort of stumbled into it.
So when you stumbled into it, did you at that point realize that you loved it and you were good at it?